Oni odlučuju, nažalost. Pa, to je. Ako budemo smeli, jer obično ne smemo. Važi. Hvala.
Okay. Ready to go. We will start with questions in English, please.
It was obviously a very difficult first set. What do you put that slow start down to? Because I think you had one earlier in the tournament as well.
I just didn't start off the blocks the way I wanted, and he started very solid, not making errors and just spinning the ball well, getting a lot of balls back, and a lot of breaks, re-breaks in the first set. But it was very close. It could have gone either way, and I'm just glad that I managed to win that tiebreaker, because after that, obviously, I started playing with more freedom, more confidence, obviously being set up after an hour and 15-20 minutes, feels obviously much better than being down a set. So second and third went really well. I thought, especially in the second, I've done things very well from back of the court, mixed it up, and didn't give him any comfort zone on the court, so I always made him guess, which was one of the keys.
Novak, you've developed a very special bond and relationship with everyone here at Roland Garros, the crowd and the ball crew. You're making a special effort to celebrate with everyone after your wins. Is that important for you to do, to give you the momentum and confidence to go into the second week?
No, of course. I mean, I think over the years, wanting to win this tournament so much and kind of failing to do that in the last step several years in a row, people recognized my efforts and I guess willingness to get my hands on that trophy. But at the same time, we established that connection that was extremely important for me, especially in the last year's final against Murray. I felt very supported throughout the entire tournament, and especially in the finals, and I, cannot forget that. That's something that I always will stay in my heart, and of course the atmosphere as tonight is very special because it was the last match of the day. Crowd was really into it. They wanted to see good tennis, but also have fun and entertain themselves. So hopefully they did, and it was really, really amazing. Couple of times, both players received the standing ovation for the efforts, which was really nice to see that the crowd appreciates and recognizes the effort. And for us as a tennis players, obviously playing in front of such crowd is always a great joy. But in particular for me, because of the previous year experience and what they gave to me was something that will stay with me forever.
You played Dominic here last year in the semis. You played him in Rome. How much of an impact do you think those matches could have in the next one?
Well, obviously never losing to a player always helps mentally a little bit, but I don't think he's going to play too big of a role. Actually, I think that he really will step it up and try to do something special, try to play his best and really take on the challenge, and I'm sure he's going to be as motivated as ever. So I expect him to come out and really play his best, and I'm going to be ready for that. So I've obviously played him last year semis here, played a really good match, played an incredible match against him in Rome. But it's different conditions, it's best of 5, it's Grand Slam, obviously, and so it doesn't need to mean anything. But still, knowing that I've beaten him, a couple of times on clay here last year gives me that confidence, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same.
Novak, Rafa Nadal lost 20 games in 4 matches. 5 games per match, 1.6666 per game, per set. But apart from that, he got a warning today for time violation. And I'd like to know your point of view about this, because he says if I play 20 rallies, it's not fair that I have only 20 seconds to regroup and start. Are you in favor of the clock? Would you put a clock? Would you put a clock depending on how many rallies there were?
No.
What do you want to do to solve this problem? Because you also have sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've spoken about this before, and I'm aware that I'm also one of the players that is on the radar because of my ball bouncing, because of my certain routines that I'm late, you know, in certain times of the match, and I accept when I get the warning, but when I get the previous kind of pre-warning, kind of a gentleman's gesture from chair umpire where he says, well, you have to speed it up a little bit because you don't know whether you are late or not. So sometimes that happens. If they give me that pre-warning and then they give me an official warning, I will never say a word. Although it's at times a bit frustrating when the chair umpire maybe doesn't recognize the circumstances that you're in, because sometimes it doesn't depend on you. It depends on how quick the towel comes, you know, maybe a ball kid drops a ball, you lose a few seconds here and there, and all of a sudden you're under pressure because you have your own routines when you come to the line. Nadal as well, we all know that. So, you know, sometimes I feel like we should all have an understanding and toleration for certain situations, but rules are there to be respected. I have nothing to say against that, which is fine. It's same for all the players. But you know, I think we're all participating in the match. Even chair umpires that are not running left and right, but they still know tennis very well. So, you know, most of them they're good. You know, they're fine. So I mean, a couple of times it happens where you know, in the midst of the fight you get a warning, and then you feel like it's too early in the match, or it was just after one rally. There was only one single time that you went over the clock, which I don't think is fair, and that happens as well. It's like one time you go over and then right away they give you a warning. So that's something as well. But you know, we all people, we all, you know, make mistakes and judgments that we think they're best in that moment.
Novak, I'm sure you've heard about the attacks in London. Do you have any worries about your safety or your family's safety preparing to come to London in a few weeks?
To be honest, when I heard about it today, I obviously was, you know, upset as everyone, and it's very disturbing that one of the biggest cities in the world, the most important cities in the world, is, you know, in some of the most popular locations in the town suffering these terrorist attacks. And so of course it you know, makes you wonder a little bit, you know, makes you question certain things, but I didn't get to that thought of, oh, should I go, should I not go to London with myself, my family. I really, because it can happen anywhere. I mean, if it happens in London, it happens in Paris, Nice, it can really happen anywhere. So I mean, if we live in fear, you know, that's not life. That's, you know, I also believe that you kind of attract, you know, certain things that when you are, you know, living under stress and fear of everything. So I you know, if it's a destiny for you to, you know, be somewhere in some place in the wrong time, I mean, it can happen to all of us. So you know, God forbid, but everything will progress the same in terms of my plans for Wimbledon, and you know, I'll try to go there with family, and you know, of course, be conscious. I think it's always about being conscious of what time of the day or night you go, where do you go, you know. But you know, it's very unpredictable.
Last one, please.
Congratulations, Novak. Along those lines, while you certainly participated in some tough, say, Davis Cup matches, talk about the role of tennis. Do you think it helps bring people together? Is it just a frivolous sport, or in some way, when we all gather at tournaments like this with so many different cultures, does that help in the bigger picture?
Well, Nelson Mandela said that sport speaks universal language that you know, gives strength to the people and creates the union between people like nothing else in the world. And if Nelson Mandela said that, then you can imagine you know, the power and the influence of the sport. And it really is. I mean, everywhere you go around the world, there is a certain sport in certain parts of the world that is the most popular or most followed. And you see how passionate people get about that sport, and really does represent, the athletes in general represent a lot of those true values that people can relate to. So that's why I think people just generally identify themselves with the athletes and with the sacrifice, with, you know, with the fair play, with the team spirit, you know, those kind of values, and never give up type of mindset, and you know, working ethics, and you know, integrity and so forth. So I mean, of course, you know, we are all competitors, but in the end of the day, firstly, we are human beings. So me, I could never imagine that I personally could have that many followers and people who appreciate what I do. So I'm very grateful for that. I always try to remind myself where I came from and where I am at the moment. So alongside of what I do, playing tennis and trying to create a certain legacy, you know, on the court and off the court, I'm trying to be conscious of, especially the young people, children who are looking up to you and following what you do, say, you know, and it's not always possible for you to be in a perfect, say, demeanor, but you always give your best, and you always try to, I mean, at least from my side, I always try to, you know, share as much as I can of that emotion and love as well. So I see it particularly in my country, and you know, to what extent sport has influenced people and how positively it is impacting their lives. And I'm just grateful to be in the position to be one of those athletes that can be part of that impact.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continue in Serbian now.
Time violation. Warning.
Yes, warning for your questions.
Prvo na srpskom, molim. Za radio Beograd.
Početak.
Sam te zamolio, prvo na srpskom, o večerašnjem meču i o sledećem protivniku tima.
Početak nije bio baš sjajan, prvih nekoliko gemova, možda dosta neizviđenih grešaka, on je onako poprilično bio čvrst sa osnovne linije, izašao je sa jasnim planom i vizijom toga šta treba da uradi na terenu. Prvi set, vidjeli ste, trajao preko sat vremena, jako tesno je tu, 7-5 u taj breaku sam uspeo da dobijem, i to je na neki način prevagnulo kompletno ceo, da kažemo, celo težište meča na moju stranu, jer očigledno da nakon tako dugog prvog seta, kada ga dobijete, imate neki polet koji sam ja osjetio i pokušao da iskoristim, što se vidjelo u drugom setu, koji je bio definitivno najsvetlija tačka današnjeg izdanja. Drugi i treći set su protekli onako kako sam i zamislio, kako sam poželeo, tako da to je ohrabrujuće, definitivno, ali sigurno da uvek može bolje. I ja sam sebi najveći uvek kritičar i trudit ću se da u sutrašnjem danu poradim na određenim elementima igre kako bi već protiv tima u četvrtfinalu preko sutra uspeo da nametnem svoj neki ritam igre i od početka, jer će on, siguran sam, biti izuzetno motivisan da krene meč agresivno, da zabeleži tu prvu pobedu protiv mene na ovako velikom turniru, bitnom meču. Ja ću očekivati njegovu najbolju igru. Poznajem njegovu igru, poznajem njegov kvalitet, znam šta je sposoban da uradi na terenu, pogotovo na ovoj podlozi koja mu je omiljena, tako da veliki respekt. S druge strane, opet, svestan sam da i sad sve te pobjede koje sam imao protiv njega, pogotovo ova najsvežija u Rimu, će mi poslužiti kao možda određena psihološka prednost koju ću pokušati da iskoristim. Hvala.
Ale, ti mi je rekao u Rimu da mu ne odgovara uopšte tvoja igra. Šta je to što u tvojoj igri što njemu toliko ne odgovara?
Ne znam šta je, ali nadam se da mu ništa neće odgovarati za 2 dana i dalje će to ostati tako. Pa, mislim, on je igrač koji voli da stvori prostor i vreme da izvede udarce. I ja se trudim da protiv takvih igrača budem, da kažem, što agresivniji, naravno sa preciznom agresivnošću, i da mu oduzmem to vreme i da ga na neki način izbacim iz ritma i da mu ne dozvolim da uđe u neku svoju komfortnu zonu, pogotovo u tom back-end uglu, jer on odatle dosta dobro plasira lopte iz backenda i iz forehenda. Tako da, mislim, svestan sam šta trebam da uradim, lakše reći nego izvesti, naravno, ali uradio sam to i pre, zašto ne bi opet.
A da li u pripremi za neki meč sa igračima koje redovno pobeđuješ, analizirate šta bi on mogao da promeni? Jer ako igra isto, dobit ćeš ga sigurno, znači mora nešto da menja.
Da, naravno, mislim, razmišljate, ali moja, da kažem, pažnja, koncentracija je najviše usmerena na moju igru i na to što ja trebam da uradim više nego na protivnika. Naravno, imam svoju pripremu, kao i obično, i video analize svog protivnika o kojima diskutujem sa svojim timom, ali sa druge strane uglavnom je veći deo energije usmeren ka tome šta trebam ja da uradim, jer znam kada sam na svom vrhuncu da stvarno mogu da pobedim bilo koga, i to sam dokazao ranije i tu se tražim, tako da kažem, i kada pronađem tu igru, a imao sam je u sadašnjem delu turnira u nekoliko navrata danas u tom drugom i trećem setu, svestan sam da onda stvarno mogu da izazovem bilo koga i da ga pobedim, tako da neće se u tom pogledu mnogo toga promeniti.
Last one.
Iz kola u kolo taj krokodil je sve veći. Gde će ti stane za finale, mislim? Gde ćeš sa njim?
Da, ovo je najveći mogući. Dobio sam neke polo njihove karakteristične majice i sam izabrao danas onako jer je poprilično gladan krokodil, tako barem izgleda, i simboliše takođe moju glad za pobjedama na ovom turniru.
Apropo toga, da li se osjećaš da si, ono što se kaže, u zoni komfora, i s obzirom na tvoju prošlogodišnju pobjedu i ceo vibe sada koji te okružuje, da li se osjećaš više kod kuće u Parizu sada nego ikad sada?
Apsolutno. Evo, današnja atmosfera je i to potvrdila. Nisam stvarno očekivao da će mi stadion skandirati ime večeras, i opet su me iznenadili prijatno. Prošle godine su mi priredili nešto što je nezaboravno. Između ostalog, igrali su izuzetno bitnu ulogu u finalu. Veliku podršku tokom celog turnira su mi pružali, jer su toliko, na neki način ja sam barem osetio da oni isto žele da ja osvojim taj turnir nakon toliko pokušaja i 3 izgubljena finala. Eto, uspeo sam u tome prošle godine i oni su definitivno zaslužni isto za to, tako da podrška publike uvek dobrodošla i uvek je neophodna, pogotovo na velikim turnirima, na velikim mečevima. Naravno da je potpuno drugačija energija i tako da kažem, iskustvo, doživljaj kada imate iza sebe stadion ili protiv. Tako da to to je prosto nesumnjivo da želim da ih imam na svojoj strani i za sada ih imam i mislim ne samo zato što želim da pobeđujem, nego prosto ostvarili smo tu neku konekciju koja prevazilazi sam tenis i to im nikad neću zaboraviti.
Hvala.